ready to worship Him this morning? Amen. Amen. Let me use this one right here. Sing this with me this morning. Hallelujah, thine the glory. Hallelujah, amen. Hallelujah, thine the glory. Revive us again. Sing it again. Hallelujah, thine the glory. Hallelujah, amen. Hallelujah, thine the glory. Revive us again.
How y'all doing this morning?
Doing great.
What a great day to start off the morning, right?
Yeah.
Great day with the baptism. This is Bethany Hester. Did I say that right? Yes. I've got it right for the time, didn't I? I've called her everything but her right name until just now, so that was a good thing. But Bethany comes to us today, and she's accepted Christ as Lord and Savior. She wanted to be baptized, and that's what we're here to do this morning. So, Bethany, if you would turn. There you go. And say, Bethany, upon your acceptance of Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, I'm now going to baptize you in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Let's worship.
All right. Stand with me, church, one more time. Sing the chorus with me. Hallelujah, thine the glory. Sing it again. Hallelujah, amen. Hallelujah, thine the glory. Revive us again. Amen. Amen. You may be seated, church. If there's ever a time in our nation and in our world we need reviving. Amen. 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 As far as announcements go for the day, you have your bulletin. Please keep it close by for the week. We have several things that are going on in our church in the coming weeks. Many of you know our open court begins on June 14th this month. From 10 until 2, the court will be open for outreach. And also, please keep in mind, our Vacation Bible School starts on June the 19th this year, runs to the 23rd. We thank you for the volunteers that have signed up to help us this year to make this a huge success. We're hoping to reach the community, tell kids, boys and girls, about our Lord and our Savior Jesus Christ. Amen? Amen. It's great to see you this morning in the house of the Lord. Let's pray for our friends in London with the attacks that they've had overnight. Several have been confirmed dead. And let's just keep those people in our prayers. Keep our country in our prayers as our president and our leaders try to make the right decisions to lead us in the right paths. I'm not here to discuss whether he's right or wrong. I'm here for us to pray for him that he will make the right decisions. Amen? Amen. Let's open up our service this morning with a time of prayer and ask the Lord to help us during this time of worship. Father, we thank you, Lord, for all of your blessings today which you have given to us, Lord. Lord, we're so thankful, Lord, that you've allowed us this privilege to come to your house, Lord, to worship you, Father, in spirit and in truth. Father, as we have gathered here today, Lord, we have many needs amongst us as a body, but Father, Lord, that you are great. And Father, that your grace is greater than all of our needs that we'll ever have in our lives. Lord, touch us today with your spirit, with your power. Father, Lord, our pastor who brings us the words of life to help us, Lord, through the things that are going on in this world today that we're living in. Father, use us. Father, we give you praise for all that you are doing in this place. We pray this in your Son's name, and all of God's people said, Amen. Amen. Let's get stand with me one more time. Take your hymnals with me this morning as we prepare for our offertory time this morning. we prepare for our offertory time, take your hymnals and turn page number 581. Page number 581. I ask you to stand if you would please as we sing our offertory hymn this morning. We have heard the joyful sound, Jesus saves, Jesus saves. Sing with me this morning first. Still love Jesus? Don't look at me like I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. That wasn't that. You trade places with me, okay?
I'll tell you what, it's tough when you make a change in the jail.
Well, you know.
Okay. On our new order of worship, we are going to be doing the offering at this early of time. Okay, we're doing it earlier in the service. Just to fill y'all in, the point of this whole change is that we want our service to start maybe on this level, but as we praise our Lord, as we worship our Lord, we want to build Him up. We want to build ourselves filled with the Spirit. And so, ushers, if y'all can come forward while I'm talking, that would be fine, because we've already sung our offertory hymn. But basically, that's the whole reason for the change, is that we want, as we start out here, we're going to fill ourselves with the Spirit, ask the Spirit to fill us as He fills this place. And we want to build the Spirit up. And then we don't want to drop down, okay, we build the Spirit up, and then we're going to drop down and do this. No, we keep going up and up and up. So that's the whole reason, in case you're wondering.
Well, Bill, if you can come on up and lead us in our prayer of our offering this morning.
Heavenly gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for this beautiful Sunday that you've given us to come and praise your name. Lord, we thank you for who you are. We the one true living God, creator of heaven and earth and all things therein. Lord, we thank you for loving us. We thank you for sending your only Son, Jesus, down on the cross to save us from our sins. And now, Lord, as we return the forth to what you give to us, bless the gift and the giver of your glory. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Okay, one thing we're not going to change is the praise song. Sorry, Canada had that praise song. So if you want to be part of our praise team, come on up. We need some singers. Come on up. If you've got any kind of a voice, any voice, can you talk? And you can praise God, right? Come on up and join us as we sing Greater this morning. Now, once again, this is our new song for the month. Come on, get ready. Come on in. Everybody stand up. Of course, we can't. It's easier to praise Him standing up. We get our morning exercise, right? Up, up,
Bring your tithe and bring your shame. Bring your guilt and bring your pain. Don't you know that's not your name? You will always be much more to me. Every day I wrestle with the voice that keeps telling me I'm not right. But that's alright, 'cause I hear the voice that He calls me to be. When God says I'll never be enough.
while you were trying to figure out where you're going to sit at today, I was just reminded, today is Blue Day, right? Well, Brother Don just said to me, he said, it's Blue Hair Day and it's blue everywhere else also, so. But that's a good thing. One other thing that I need to make an announcement about real quick is tonight is the first Sunday of the month. And on Sunday night, the first Sunday of the month, we have snacks. So y'all come tonight, bring a little treat, bring it, we'll put it all together, and after we have worship tonight, we'll have our time of fellowship out in the gathering room, okay? Y'all make plans to be here tonight for that. And also, the deacons meeting at 3:30. Okay. It's been a great day already. I tell you, I just love to start off the days with baptisms. There's just something about it. It's one of those things to where someone is stepping up to the plate and doing as God commands us to do. And that is the water of baptism. So if you have your Bibles with you, please turn to 1 Samuel chapter 8. This morning's sermon is warning, warning, warning. How many of y'all have ever read a warning sign and then went ahead and did what it told you not to do? Oh, honesty this morning, I like that. There's a lot of people honest this morning. But see, sometimes the problem we have in life. We have the warning signs, but we ignore them. One of the things that bothers me is, please do not park in handicapped spaces. There's a warning there, but right now there's only one state out of the 50 states that I know of that if you park in a handicapped space, your vehicle is towed, and it's a very expensive cost to get it retrieved. Here in the state of Georgia, they don't do it. They just say they don't care, and that's just the one thing that bothers me. At the courthouse where I work at, we have to deal with that all the time. So, and believe it or not, even on your handicap sticker, if even you have them, make sure they're not expired, because I'll collect them at the courthouse, and I throw them away in the trash cans because they are expired. So, just a little tidbit right there for that. But the warnings are there, but do we listen to them? You know, there's a song that Garth Brooks recorded. The song is Unanswered Prayers. How many of y'all know the song? Well, you're going to hear it again. I'm not going to sing it though, okay? It's the story of a man and his wife going to a high school football game. And while he's there, he runs into one of his old high school flames. For those who don't know what a flame is, that's the girl that you was interested in a long time ago, okay? And as he introduced him then the past came back to him, and he couldn't help but think of the way things used to be. She was the one that he had always wanted for all times, and each night he would spend praying that God would make her his. And if he had only granted him this wish, he wished back then had never asked for anything again. And then the song goes into the chorus. It says, sometimes I thank God for unanswered prayers. Remembering when you're taken to the man upstairs, that just because he doesn't not answer doesn't mean he doesn't care. Some of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers. Wow. How many of y'all have ever prayed for anything in your life and you didn't get it? And then you wonder back, I wonder why God never gave me that. Sometimes I can think back. And you know something? It's because God knows me better than I know my own self. Amen. Ain't that great to know? My sermon today is about God answering our prayers. If you've turned to 1 Samuel, we're going to start off by reading this in sections, but this is the story of how the children of Israel wanted a king. In 1 Samuel chapter 8, verses 4 through 6. It says that all the elders of Israel gathered together and came to Samuel at Ramah. And he said to them, "You are old, and your sons do not walk in our ways. Now appoint a king to lead us, such as the other nations have." But when he said, "Give us a king to lead us," this displeased Samuel, so he prayed to the Lord. You know, here we see that the children of Israel are accusing Samuel of being old and his sons are wicked. So as an alternative, they want a king. This was probably just an excuse. They were using it to get what they really wanted. Has that ever happened in your life? You ever seen something that you really wanted and you just finagled things around just to where you could get it like you wanted it? Was you making a deal with God or was you making a deal with the devil?
Come on now.
Whoa. Am I meddling again? I think that's about what you could say that is. I'm meddling. Because that's what happens a lot. And do y'all believe it happens even in a church? It happens big time in the churches. Let me give you an example. Suppose in our modern day time, because this has happened to a lot of churches here, and I'm going to use two churches in particular because y'all know the churches. One of them's your church, the Rock. Suppose you leave the Rock to go to Eagles Landing Baptist Church. And you tell everyone that God was telling you to do it. Yeah, God spoke to me and He told me, "Brother, it's time for you to go to Eagles Landing Baptist Church. They have got such a great program there." Notice I said the word program. They got a great program there. And you really need to go there and be a part of it. And then what the real bottom line thing to it was is, in your profession, you was an insurance salesman. You see, you don't work the Rock Baptist Church all the way. You done got a lot of people on your client list and everything. It was time for more clients. Wow. So you've used God as your real no, not the real excuse. You've used God and put it on Him when it was really for a personal gain. Let me tell you what you better do. You better be careful. You better be careful what you do whenever you use God. Because believe it or not, He's the one that gives you every breath of life that you breathe. And just as quickly as He can give it to you, He can take it away from you. You know, there's another sermon about that in the New Testament, about how somebody said that they was going to sell a parcel of land. And it didn't work out like they wanted. They wanted some for their own personal gain. Both of them ended up having their lives taken. You see, don't mess with God, because whenever you do, you're messing with the Almighty. You know, I like God's response. He assured Samuel that he's not the real reason. The real reason was that they had rejected God. Now, was this the first time that this had ever happened? No. And it hadn't. And guess what? It's not going to be the last either. I still think today God looks down on the nation of Israel and sees some of the real heart of some of the people that are there. And have they really found God in their life? Do they really follow what He's really doing? Sometimes I like to know those things because guess what? What revolves around the nation of Israel revolves around us. Some of us don't look at it that way, but it is true. Why? Because that was His chosen people. Those were the ones. So let's be careful in that sense. But we learn. But like I said, he just assured Samuel that he was not the reason. They were unhappy. They were unhappy. He said, we need to learn to be happy for what we need to learn to be happy for what God gives us. So there's a word that comes into play here that's called content. How many of you are content with where you are in life? Well, I am. If you've ever reached that stage in life that I'm at right now, I'm retired. My income is stable. And everything is a progression for me up to this point. We're not unhappy. I love my church family. I love what God's doing for me. I love to see things that are going on, the things that are changing around here. It's just fantastic. I mean, what other reason is there not to be happy? I'm going to put a plug in for tonight's sermon. It's about positives and negatives. Come back and hear a sermon on that because it'll tie into some of what I'm talking about today. You see, I looked at the people of Israel, the children of Israel, they were on the negative side. Even though God had showed them and given them everything that they had ever wanted, they still wasn't happy. That's what happens to us. Sometimes we get unhappy because we see our neighbor driving a brand new Lexus, or a Mercedes, or to Brother Gary there did a new Ford or a Chevrolet, okay? But you see, it's not what you need in your life to make you happy. It's what God's going to give you. But you see, if you're unhappy, you need to learn to make changes. But the changes that you make, you need to let them focus totally around God. Let's read verses 7 and 8 now. It says, and the Lord told him, listen to all that the people are saying to you. It is not that they have rejected you, but they have rejected me as their king. And as they have done, from that day I brought them up out of Egypt until this day, forsaking me and serving other gods, so they are doing to you. You see, he was pointing out, it's not you, Samuel. Don't worry, it's not you. It's not on your shoulders. It's totally me. They don't love me. How many of you really do love church? I did a sermon on this not too long ago, but how many of you really do love church? I love church. Why do I love church? Have you ever asked yourself, why do you love church? Whenever you make a statement like that, it's one that you better have a good answer for. Because it's not to come up here and see Butch's wife, Cindy. No. Might wish it would, but it's not, okay? It's to come here because I love to worship. Well, Pastor, I can worship in my bass boat on the lake on Sunday morning while I'm catching bass. I can say, thank you, Jesus, as I reel him in, I really love God, No, that's a selfish thing added to that. We come here to worship on Sunday morning being unselfish is what we do. We don't come for a personal gain. We come because we love God. And you see, whenever that's our focus, we have that love in our life. And then when we have that love in our life, you know what it does? Remember what the Holy Spirit is? It's a reflection onto Jesus Christ. We are reflecting who Jesus is in our life through the Holy Spirit. So you see, whenever we can show that and we reveal it to other people, we're showing what the true meaning of coming to church is really all about. Now some people want to come because they want to hear the band play. Or they want to hear a person sing a song, and I will come to hear them sing, but that ain't the main reason. The main reason is because of God. But he went on to explain the situation there. But guess what? How many of y'all believe in consequences? With every action, there is what? A reaction. For every action, there is a reaction, whether it's positive or negative. See how they're tying it together? There we go. Let's read verse 9. It says, now listen to them, but warn them solemnly, and let them know that the king who will reign over them, what they will do. You see, there's that big warning sign. Warning, warning, warning. You can do it, but there's consequences that go right along with it. Whenever I was putting this together, it didn't hit me until I read it even again this morning, and boy, something just popped out. And I'll tell you what that is in just a minute. But with what they were asking, like I said, comes the consequences. Now, before you make a decision in your life or anything, have you ever stopped to think about what the end results are going to be? Sure you have. I'm going to invest my money in this because I want to see that end result. I'm going to give you an illustration about that, and it involves my dad. My dad was one of those guys that had a lot of money invested. Well, maybe not a lot of money to some people, but it was to him. But he thought that they was going to really make some real big money at the end because the stock market was just climbing and climbing and climbing. And when he put his money in the bank and it started climbing, that's all I heard was the praise about it. And then he got up one morning and guess what? Yep, it happened to a lot of people. They lost a lot of money. The problem was he didn't figure on that part about it. You see, that was something that come in the middle of the equation. And I asked him, I said, Dad, I said, who forced you to put that in that account? Did anybody stick a gun to your head and tell you that you had to do it? No, it was a choice. It was a choice totally on your own. Now, if you couldn't afford to lose that money, why did you do it to begin with? Well, the stock market was good. Of course, I heard all the excuses. It was the president's fault. You know, well, that's the easiest one to blame it on, isn't it? You always want to blame it on the one that you don't like. True. And believe it or not, some people even blame it on God because they don't really like God. But my point that I was trying to get across was this. He wasn't counting on that to happen in the middle. But it's a risk that comes along with doing it. So you see, sometimes the consequences don't always end up the way that you want it to do. What seems to be good at first can turn out to be a disaster. Now then, let's read what God was trying to tell him. And as I read this, this is what God revealed to me. When I read this again this morning, I said, wow, this sounds just like government rule. Hey, it does. If you listen to it and put it two and two together with how our country is established and is run today, it's just like we're under a king. We just get to choose one every 4 years. Listen to what it says. It says that Samuel told all the world, told the words of the Lord to the people who were asking for a king. And he said, this is what the king who will reign over you will do. He will take your sons and make them serve as chariots and horses. In other words, he's going to put them in the army. And then they will run in front of his chariots. Some will be assigned to be commanders of thousands and commanders of 50s, and others to plow the ground and reap the harvest. And still others will make weapons of war and equip for his chariots. Have y'all seen the difference yet? I haven't seen the difference yet. It says, and then he will make your daughters to be perfumers and cooks and bakers. And he will take the best of your fields and vineyards and olive groves and give them to his attendants. And then he will take a tenth of your grain and of your vintage and give it to the officials of the attendants. Guess what that was? Taxes. Yes. And your men servants and maid servants and the best of your cattle and the donkey, and he will make them his own. And he will take a tenth of your flocks, and yourselves will become his slaves. And that day comes, you will cry out for relief from the king you have chosen, and the Lord will not answer you that day. But the people refused to listen to Samuel. No, they said, we want a king over us. Then we will be like the other nations, with a king to lead us and to go out before us and fight our battles. And when Samuel heard all the people said, he repeated it before the Lord. And the Lord answered, listen to them and give them a king. Then Samuel said to the men of Israel, everyone go back to his own town. You see, when I heard that part about the scripture, they did not consider not one thing about the consequences. What did they want? They wanted to be like somebody else. Why? Why? I don't know why. You know, I looked at something that happened on TV this week. Y'all probably heard about it, and I very seldom talk about this from the pulpit, but I think this is a good example this morning. That Paris Agreement about the fresh air stuff, about the environment and everything that goes along with it. You know, I agree with what the President's done for one reason. Because we're funding it just about for the whole world, the United States is. We put billions and billions and billions of dollars into something when we have our own regulations right here in the United States of America. And my point about that is this: let China take care of China, let Japan take care of Japan, let all the other countries take care of themselves first. And then reach out.
Amen.
Because it's just like I've said about caregivers. Don't hurt yourself, because if you hurt yourself, you can't take care of the one that you're being there to take care of. Sometimes we have to think about, believe it or not, ourselves at a point in time. But we put our trust in God for Him to lead us. You know, in those verses 10 through 22, this is the consequence of asking for a king. Even though it came from God, it didn't matter. They were blind to the fact that God was saying no. God was saying no. I remember the first time I went to buy a car. It was a 65 Nova Super Sport. It was like a little bit bigger than a go-kart, you might say. It was a little bitty box with a high-powered engine, and I loved it. And I went to get it one day, and we was going to test drive it and everything, and my dad said, no, you don't drive it, let him drive it. So my dad got in the back seat, and we're going down the road, and my dad tells him, he said, well, let's just see what this thing can do. And the whole time he was going through the gears, my dad's head was stuck to the back of the seat. You see, I loved it, but my dad knew what the consequences was going to be. There'd be new tires every time you turned around. There'd be traffic tickets. There'd be all the other things in between, along with the chance that I might even kill myself in it. You know, it's something that I wanted, but my daddy said no. My dad was a wise man because he knew me very well. God knows His own people. He knows them very well. That's why He was telling them no. But they were hard-headed people. And He had dealt with them through the whole time out in the wilderness. And it even got to one point where He says, I think I'll just wipe them out and let you start all over, Moses. Moses, no, not me. You see, God knows better. But to them it didn't matter. They had seen other nations around them and wanted to be like them. Sometimes until they get involved and experience the situation, you don't really know if it's the right thing or the wrong thing. But in their situation, God had given to them guidance. They just didn't listen. They just didn't listen. That fits us so well. We just don't listen. What about you? Do you seek guidance in God in everything that you do? Let me let you in on a secret. How do you think that the rock has gotten to where it's gotten today? Because I can tell you this, from the day that I walked into those doors and y'all let me stand up here in this pulpit, it has been 100% pure God. It has been nothing else but that. Why? Because I'm unable to do it on my own. I am unable to do it on my own. I've looked at other things to get ideas, but you know what? God said, that doesn't fit the rock. You don't need to do it that way. This is how I want you to do it. And it's not hard, it's simple. That's what I like about God. He doesn't require you to have a scholarship into the best worlds of thinkings. He just wants your availability.
Amen.
And when you make yourself available, He'll put things right in front of you just as they come. And as they come, you'll feel the need. He'll feel the need every time. We're fixed to start something else. Brother Hugh, he knows about this already. We're fixed to do something even with Sunday school. Y'all might not like it, but guess what? It's coming. It's coming. Why? Because God says it's going to happen. And I believe it's going to happen. We're going to see this church turn around. We're going to see younger people sitting in the congregation. Why? Because we're going to turn some things around. We're not going to focus on the way that we've done things for the past, 129, 28 years. I don't know what it is. But whatever it is, it's just something a little fresher, something a little newer, something that people can get interested in. And you know what the consequences are going to be? It can't be no worse than what it is. That's how I look at it. It's going to be a good thing. Woo! I like it. All right. But you got to make God number one in your life. Keep God number one in your life. That's what the children of Israel did not do. They did not keep God to be number one in their life. They had put other idols out there before Him. And He does not like that. He gives us certain commandments that we're supposed to follow, and that was one of His main things. I'm going to look at Psalm 16:11. I wrote it down. I got to read it. Psalm 16. Verse 11. It says, "If you have made known to me the path of my life, you have filled me with the joy in your presence, with eternal pleasures at your right hand." You see, when we focus on God, guess what He's going to do? He's going to lead you in the right path. He's going to fill you with that joy. That's what He was still trying to tell His own people. Follow me, and I'll make you happy.
Amen.
Let me say, that's a good song right there, ain't it? Don't worry, be happy. Just follow God in your life. That's what you do. That's what He's telling you. And it'll be filled with eternal pleasures, and it'll be right there at your right hand. We got to make those right choices. We got to make sure the consequences are what He wants us to have. You know, the rest of the song goes on, and there's the next verse of that. She wanted to, she wasn't quite the angel that He had remembered in His dreams. He says, "And I can only tell that time had changed me. In her eyes, too, it seemed. We tried to talk about the old days, but there wasn't much that they could recall." Said, "I guess the Lord knows what He's doing after all." Says, "And as she walked away," I like this part. He says, I looked at my wife. And then and there, I thank the good Lord for the gifts in my life.
Amen.
Sometimes, some of God's greatest gifts are too often unanswered. Some of God's greatest gifts are the unanswered prayers. I think about the road that I could have taken in life, but I chose to follow the road that God gave me. And He gave me my wife. And she kept me on the straight and narrow. And I thank God for that. Let's look at John chapter 14, verse 21. In John 14:21, it says, "He that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me. And he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father. And I will love him and will manifest myself in him." You see, whenever we look at John 14, if we love God and we follow Him in our lives, He'll love us back. What is it that's missing in our world today? What is it that's missing in our world today? It's love. You know, sometimes we're our worst enemy. Why? Because we make it hard ourselves. Just love your neighbor as you love yourselves, and guess what? It'll come to you very easily. Let's learn to be happy with the gifts and the blessings that God has given to us. Let's pray for peace and prosperity and follow God in everything we do. Let us pray. Our most kind and gracious Heavenly Father God, I thank you for this message that you've given me this morning about the consequences, about the warnings that we have in life. Dear God, we need to take heed to your warnings. You tell us that so plainly in your words. You tell us what you want us to do. That's the warning sign. When you tell us what we're supposed to do and we don't do it, then that means there's consequences are coming. Dear God, let us focus our eyes and learn how to follow you in everything that we do. And let's not worry about the ending. Let's just follow you. Who knows, the ending might not never come. It might be an ongoing thing from now till the day comes when it is, whenever you take us home. Dear God, let our love be shown to others that we love you in our life and that will help others in life, that will have compassion in life. And dear God, if there's someone here who wants to follow you in believer's baptism this morning, has never done that, dear God, let them come forward. Or if there's someone here who needs to make it a public profession that they've accepted you in their life, let that happen this morning. Dear God, just watch over us and bless us this day. This seems best in your name.